Mother-in-laws. Sorry, not sorry, but I got some shit to address today. Now, before I get into that, let me just first state I'm going to try to do this as respectfully but directly as possible. I want to know what it is that makes y'all think that as a grown man, you still have number one priority in this man's life. Ma'am, you had this man for 18 years. Anything that you needed to do with this man should have been done during those 18 years. If you slacked off during those 18 years, what makes you think that you can come step up now and expect to have a number one role in this man's life? This man right here, this man, that's my man, okay? If you got a man at home, that's your man. Tend to your man. You should be number one in your household, just like I'm going to be number one in mine. I'm the queen. Period. Now, I will say this. Yes, you are due a certain amount of respect because you are his mother. You are the one that brought him in this world. Now, let's just keep it all the way real. You may not like me, but it ain't because of anything I lack to provide for your son or the way that I love him. It's because I don't bite my tongue. So, let's just get to the facts here. You had this man in your care for 18 years. During those 18 years, he comes from a very damaged childhood. You know who deals with that today? I do. You know who still loves him every day? I do. You know whose life he's a priority in? Mine. So when you pop up, whenever you pop up, and think that you're going to take the number one role in front of me, that's out. Period. What I suggest is that you start joining forces with your daughter-in-laws. If that woman is loving that man correctly, and you can see that, give that woman her props. Because there's a lot of men that hold on to childhood trauma, and it's their spouse that now has to deal with it. Some which may have been caused by you. So instead of trying to make that woman uncomfortable or constantly battling with her about your role in this man's life, why don't you try having her back? Why don't you pull her to the side and let her know, hey, if you ever need me, I'm here for you. If he ever giving you a problem, let me know. I'll get in his ass. You his mama, right? Come on now, mother-in-laws. Y'all got to understand these positions that we take, we've earned that. If you see that that man, like I said, is loved correctly, he's happy, you need to understand that this is a battle you will not win. Period. Let's talk about it. Mother-in-laws. So I see some of y'all was in your feelings regarding my last post, but let's go into a little bit more detail. There are two types of mother-in-laws. There's the mother-in-laws that are grateful that their son has ended up with a woman that's good enough to keep him out of her hair completely, and she gets to go on and enjoy life. She can come visit whenever she wants to. She's there for support and all means necessary. She loves the daughter-in-law. And then we have the other ones. Now, the other ones, let's just be honest. Y'all be jealous. Y'all be jealous. And you know what you be jealous about? You can't stand to see another woman actually doing better by your son than you did. And y'all know I got to keep it real, so we just going to call it what the fuck it is. Some of you mother-in-laws be salty. And what I mean by that is you be jealous at the fact that your son is treating another woman good. Some of y'all be wanting your sons to be needy. You want to be that woman that he calls on every time he has a fucking problem. And the fact that a real woman comes along and teaches him, you don't have to do that. That's not what grown men do. Handle your business, and she helps him get there. Oh, that bothers the fuck out of you guys. And I hate to be the one to inform you, but unapologetically so, let me just inform you that when your son meets a real woman, we are going to let them know that your mother doesn't come first anymore. This fucking house comes first. These children come first. This family, it comes first. So I'm going to need you guys to take the back seat, chill out, and just appreciate the fact that he has a good woman, okay? Mother-in-laws and they bullshit. As y'all can see from the comments of my last video, looks like a lot of us have been through this at some point or another in one of our relationships. So let's just get into this question. Does the mother-in-law change after you call her out on her bullshit? So to be honest, I've seen it go both ways. And this is where that crossroads happen, because it's going to come to a point where it's going to either cause conflict within your relationship or it's going to bring you guys closer. Because after you call the mother-in-law out on her bullshit is where your husband has to stand up and put his foot down. And he's either going to require that mother-in-law to either respect your wishes, respect your household, and respect your relationship, or not be a part of it at all. And if she's not receptive to it and he doesn't put his foot down, that's where the two of you are going to start feeling the whole cause and effect of her actions. So that's why I said it's a crossroad. Because at this point, after you call her out on that shit and she doesn't change her ways and he doesn't do anything about it, you're going to start taking it out on him because you're going to feel like he didn't have your back and he's not supporting you, nor is he supporting the relationship. So my best advice is to make sure that you have that conversation with him. Listen, your mom is not going to come in between us in this household. And either you're going to get her in line or she can't come around us. But he has to be willing to do that same thing with you. And he has to be the one to tell his mom, look, if you can't get it together with my wife, you're not going to be allowed to deal with us. And more often than not, when relationships fall apart because of family bullshit, this is around the time that happens. Because he's either going to stand with you and support your decision with his mother, or he's going to do nothing about it and you guys are going to now be divided. So that's why I said it's always best to have that conversation with your spouse and make sure that you guys are on the same page. And let him know where you stand on that. Even in my situation, it came to a point where me and him would be going back and forth because he felt like, you don't have to go that hard. Like, don't worry about it. I'm going to make sure she don't get in our way. She don't do this. She don't do that. And I'm like, no, hold on. You need to check her. And then when he finally got to that point where he was like, look, I'm going to tell her either she's going to respect you or we're not going to be dealing with her as a couple, period. That's when I seen it like change with her. Now she knew, okay, he ain't playing about her. Like, I'm going to have to respect her. And don't get it wrong, she still be trying little shit. I tell him all the time, like, your mama, she be doing little underhanded shit. But because you're a man, you don't see the shit that females do. Whether she's your mama, young, old, or whatever, females have their ways. So I will point these things out to him. And I let him know it's your job to make sure that you check it now. Because I done already told her. So the next time that I have to address her on something, I'm going to do so in the most disrespectful way possible. So either you tell her or I am. And like I said, that's where you guys as a couple have to be on the same page at all times. Because sad truth is, if he's not going to get on your level with that and he's not going to be on the same page as that, there's always going to be that division and it's going to be between you guys because he's not getting it. So he has to do his part too, just like you have to maintain and keep your boundaries at what they are and tell her she's not to cross that. So yeah, you got two types of mother-in-laws that's going to have two different outcomes. You got the ones that understand, okay, he's not playing. He's standing with his woman. They're a unit and I just have to respect that. And they fall in line. You ain't going to have too many issues out of them all the time. And then you got the other ones that just feel like, hey, it is what it is. And it's my way or no way. And 9 times out of 10, those are the ones that get cut off. Yep. Trust me, I've seen it. I've been through it. You done got cut off and now you don't have any access and now you wondering why you ain't spoke to your son in years and you don't have no bond with your grandchildren. It's all gonna depend on that man. So you have the right as a woman to stand up for yourself, set the boundaries and don't let nobody cross them. And then he also has to make sure that he supports your movement with that, period. Hey, mother-in-laws, it's me again. I got some more shit to say to y'all. And this may not apply to everybody, but for the ones that it does apply to, can you just go ahead and put on a pair of shoes and take a real long walk off a short bridge? Because that is how I'm feeling right now. I just want to tell you that some of y'all need to start showing a little bit more gratitude to the women that deal with these men that come from these fucked up childhoods, okay? Because see, some of these men that have these childhood traumas, whether it been from neglect, the lack of nurturing, or the fact that you didn't show them in action or in words how a woman is supposed to be treated, they end up becoming our problems. And it is not easy dealing with a man that comes from them type of childhood traumas. So, you know, when you see your man and he has a woman that's actually been helping him and building him and trying to heal all of these traumas that came while he was in your care, I'm gonna need you to show the gratitude for that, okay? Because again, it is not an easy task. Mother-in-laws from hell, or how to spot the red flags of if this woman is going to be a future mother-in-law from hell. I want to get into this comment right here because this goes to show you how some women really think, and this is why some of these mother-in-laws act like this. Now, as simple as this comment is, Miss Cindy B says she is so happy she doesn't have a daughter-in-law. Ma'am, You do realize that, in other words, you are saying that you are so happy that your son has not found love or happiness or a relationship that he feels is worthy enough to get married. It's all about your feelings and what you're happy that you don't have to deal with, that you said F your child and what he may be lacking. He doesn't have the experience of marriage, but his mom is happy about that. That's part of the main problems with mother-in-laws. They be so worried about their own feelings that they don't pay attention to what it is their child is feeling. You get so jealous that another woman comes along that you can't stand for the attention to be taken away from you and put into his own household, his own family, his own wife. You would just much rather he be single and up under your ass all day. Go get you a man. Get you a happy, healthy relationship so you can stay out of your sons. And while you are so happy you don't have a daughter-in-law, I'm sure there are a lot of women out there that are so happy that they don't have to deal with mother-in-laws like you. Boy, these mother-in-laws be crazy as hell. Let me give y'all a little story time. So, my husband is in jail. He's been in jail for a while. He's fighting his case. My mother-in-law has 3 sons in total. When I tell y'all that since my husband has been in jail, ain't nothing about his stride stopped. I'm talking about business-wise. He's still on top of things. Everything's still flowing. He done bought this woman a car. He done sent this woman money. He done paid for her groceries on numerous occasions. Just everything that you think a son should do, he's still been able to provide that, although he's fighting a very serious case and got his own motherfucking issues that he need to deal with. Still always looking out for his mama. So, anyhow, needless to say, since he's been incarcerated, this man has taken care of her. When I tell y'all I have done everything right by this man, and she can see that. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. She knows that I was actually the one that was encouraging him to start doing a lot of these things for her. You know, being as I don't have my parents anymore, I used to stress to him how important it is to be able to provide for them while you still have the ability to. Well, needless to say, that since he has been incarcerated, what I've noticed is he's still the one always offering his help. He's still the one paying for this and paying for that and seeing how he can fix this and seeing how he can fix that. Out of your 3 motherfucking kids, this is the motherfucking son that is always there for you. But why the fuck don't I see that shit in return? And although the shit bothered me, I just chalked it up because at the end of the day, he don't need for nothing. I don't need for nothing. So we really don't need anybody to do a motherfucking thing. Now, the problem came in at the fact that this woman understood that I am very big on my visits and my time with him. Trying to maintain a relationship with somebody in jail is not an easy task. On top of that, we are in the process of running mutual businesses that we have together. So we're on a certain time frame. Like we just, you know, the way we have everything structured, it is what it is. Well, this woman decided that she was going to start booking visits with him randomly. She would never tell us when. It was, you know, to me, whenever the fuck she had time because it wasn't consistent. So I kindly asked her, hey, you know, being that you know how important the time is for me and the visits and then running the businesses and stuff, do you think that you can let one of us know before you book a visit or when you're going to book a visit? So that way we already have it down in our head, hey, on Thursday we're not going to have visits because she's booking a visit. And I asked with all due respect, but of course she had a fucking problem with that. She felt like she didn't have to tell me a motherfucking thing. Okay, cool. I'll ask your son to talk to you since you just don't want to take it from me. And he did that. Well, that's when the problems fucking started. Because she not only decided that she wasn't going to tell us a motherfucking thing, she was just going to continue on with the way that she's been doing, which is pull up any chance she fucking felt like it, whether it be once a month or once every 2 months. Well, now you're going to see that he's going to start canceling those visits that we weren't expecting. Now let's fast forward to the bullshit. When I tell you, since this man has been incarcerated, this woman has not showed up to one fucking court date. Not one. Hasn't asked how the lawyers are being paid for. Does he need anything? How it's looking? How about just some motherfucking moral support? Ain't been none of that. Well, let me tell you, he had an important court date coming up. And he really wanted her to be present. According to him, he reminded her twice about this. When I tell you that woman did not show up, but you know what seemed really funny to me? Is every time you guys have a motherfucking problem, you know to book a visit and you won't ask for any type of help directly. You do little shit like tell him about your problems or what's going on. Oh, I'm going to be out of work for 2 weeks because of this or that or whatever the case may be, knowing that he'll offer it. So to me, like I said, I be seeing through the bullshit. I still don't say anything. When she doesn't show up to that court date, I see that he, he was bothered by it. It hurt his feelings. He was affected by it. And I asked him, are you sure that she knew when the court date was? Although, no, if it was important, nobody should have to tell you when the fuck a court date is, especially when, number one, it's public record, and number two, you have no problem texting about anything else. So if you were curious as to when this court date was, although he told me he told you, you could have easily tapped in and figured that information out. Now, after she missed this court date, a few weeks goes by and she texts me and she says, hey, I want to book a visit for this weekend. Can you let him know? So I bring it to his attention. I don't tell him my opinion. I just tell him, hey, your mom tapped in. She wants to book a visit for this weekend. What time do you want me to tell her, or what day? He's like, no, let her know. I don't want no visits from anybody else right now. He wasn't rude about it. But like I said, I could tell, everybody knows their spouse. I could tell it was affecting him. And I could tell it really hurt his feelings. And that's why he didn't want to see anybody. So I waited about a day or so and I texted her a very long text. And in this text, I let it all out. I told her, I said, this time you really disappointed him. And it's sad because out of all three of your kids, he's the only one that does shit for you, even under his circumstances. He's never asked you for $1. He understands that he has to fight this fight on his own. He doesn't expect anything. But the one thing that you could have provided for him that was absolutely free, you couldn't even do. He has never missed Mother's Day, a birthday. He sends roses and different things to let you know that you're special. But you mean to tell me you couldn't be there to support him on a day that he needed you the most? So I'm sorry to say, but he told me to tell you that he doesn't want any visits from you right now. Well, let me tell you about this woman. She didn't bother to text me back, but you know who was front row and center at that next court date? She was. And I thought that was a good thing. Oh, she finally gets it. Well, tell me why this woman decided to wait till after his court date to come up and ask his lawyers. He has 2 lawyers. She comes up and asks one of them, can she speak to them? I don't pay no mind to it. I spin off and go on about my day. I got shit I got to do. Later on, he calls me and tells me that his lawyers came to see him and told him that after court, his mother pulled them to the side to tell them, I didn't tell her when the court date was, and she was unaware, and I'm causing a wedge between her and her son. Excuse me, lady? So you gonna put your dropping the ball ass shit on me? Okay, I see how we playing. So you mean to tell me that out of all the motherfucking court dates that this man done had, it's my fault that you ain't been present at one of these motherfuckers? You call yourself trying to save face to these lawyers because they probably looking at you like, damn, we didn't even know he had a motherfucking mama. Now, you decide you want to drop that shit on me and have me looking all crazy. You ain't put $1 towards these motherfucking expensive ass lawyers. But you got your motherfucking nerve to be talking to them about our personal business and make it seem like I'm the motherfucking problem. Are you fucking crazy? You decided that this was going to be the way you introduce yourself to these lawyers that have never met you a day in their fucking life by putting it off on me, and you don't think you sound fucking crazy by trying to say you ain't been to no court dates because you didn't know when they were? Okay. Bitch, you got me fucked up. Period, point blank. I sent that woman a long ass text and I respectfully told her she needs to own her shit. Don't put that shit off on me, because let me tell you what I would do. If it was one of my motherfucking children, ain't nobody got to tell me when a court date is for one of my motherfucking children. I'm probably going to be the one sending out the text to let everybody else know when the fucking court date is. Don't put that motherfucking shit off on me. See, a lot of you mother-in-laws, y'all got a problem with accepting the fact of when you're wrong or when you drop the ball. You don't want another woman to look like she's doing a better job at it than you. Kiss my motherfucking ass. Mother-in-laws. Again, what is this? Story time number 1556. I don't even know. I wasn't gonna do this one because it's a little bit of a sensitive time and I didn't know if it was appropriate, but we're gonna talk about it. And maybe you guys can help me see a different side, because the way I'm feeling, yeah, I might hurt some feelings. Okay, I'm going to try to run through the backstory real briefly just to give you guys an understanding of the dynamics. So my husband and his mom have always pretty much had a real estranged relationship. You know, when someone's present but not present, she was going through her own issues, battling with addiction, things like that. So his childhood wasn't the greatest. That's the best way I can put it. That's the most respectful way I can put it. He didn't have a real good childhood. However, in his late 20s or so, she got clean and they kind of just been trying to repair things. Now, She had been with this man and married this man, I want to say since 2008 or so. Real good dude, real upbeat, just uplifting. My husband had his own bond with him. They were cool. Everything was good. Well, that man passed April 10th. So this is his stepdad. That man passed April 10th. On April 26th, I got a text from her that said, hey, how you guys doing? I haven't heard from you since I texted you and let you know that Pops passed. I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't text me. And although I didn't even press the issue, I knew that she really didn't send that text, probably out of spite or being petty, because prior to him passing, she did reach out a few times and she was like, hey, you know, I haven't heard from him. Can you tell him to call? Pops wants to talk to him. He wanted to talk to his stepdad, but he didn't want to talk to her. And the reason being is because there was a very big situation that, you know, was talked about regarding my husband and her other child. And she didn't handle that situation like a mother should have. And that really bothered him. So he just was like, I just can't deal with her right now. Like, I just can't deal with her right now. You know, she's always favored. That child has always been it's always been a very big difference. Okay, so fast forward. Now I had to relay the message to my husband that his stepdad passed. It was a lot for him to process, but he dealt with it as best as he could. So come Mother's Day, he finally reaches out to the mom. And the conversation lasts maybe all of a minute and a half, 2 minutes. When he calls, he's like, hey, how you doing? He's like, I just want to check on her, see how she processing everything, how she dealing with it, if she's okay. And she's like, oh, well, I'm on my way to have brunch with your brother. And he's like, that's not my brother. Like, can you just stop trying to do that? Like, you know the situation. So and I'm not even going to go into detail about it as of right now. But she gets mad that he says that. So he just cut the conversation short and let her go. Was what it was. So, you know, I'm texting her every now and then. How you doing? Everything good? Keep me up to date. Yada, yada, yada. Funeral is yesterday. So, you know, with my husband being incarcerated, her church was hosting the funeral service live so you could watch it, you know, as it was going on. So I set the visit up for him to be able to watch this service live. I told her that he would be there live, whatever the case may be. I got permission from the jail to make sure that he could stay on the live visit the entire duration of the funeral. So they start reading the obituary. When they read the obituary and it gets to the children, she doesn't give my husband his dad's name. So he has his own dad. Her other two children have their own dads. And then she's married to this man. When it gets to my husband's name, she doesn't give my husband his name. I mean, she gives his first name, but her maiden last name. But she gives her other child his father's last name, meaning my husband's father's last name. Says that name, even though that's not his dad. Now, him and I are both watching, and it was like almost instantly, we both looked at each other and said, ain't that a bit like, what the hell? Okay, whatever. Funeral service goes on. People are getting up to speak. She gets up there to talk. And this is how instant karma be getting some people. But I said it was God. He tapped her right on the shoulder. Excuse me, ma'am. As she's talking, she starts talking about stuff that doesn't have anything to do with her husband that has passed. She starts talking about, yeah, a week before he passed, what we talked about, what we wanted is our children need to be there for me. And they need to stop this rivalry and put their differences aside. And they're required to do that. But like I said, this is a very big situation. So it was like, why are you using this moment to talk about this? And we really don't want to talk about it. You don't want it to come out. Now, keep in mind, from the moment that she got up, that other child of hers got up with her. And he's standing up there with her as she's talking. And of course, I'm getting irritated by the moment, but whatever. Ain't about us right now. So as she's talking and she goes into furthers her speech, she starts talking about how she serves a mighty God and yada, yada, yada. And then she mistakenly says my husband's father's name instead of her current husband or whoever she was trying to reference. I think she was trying to reference, something to do with God at that time. Because she said, I serve a mighty God and I'm so proud to be under the flock of. But she then says my husband's father's name, which is her ex-husband. Ma'am, That was instant karma. We were like, whoa, did she just do that? And she catches it, because as soon as she says it, she said, oh my God, I wasn't trying to. Instant karma. That was instant karma. My husband was like, whoa, she just did that. And then he's like, now ain't that some shit? You don't give me my real name in the obituary. You don't give me my father's name. You take my father's name and give it to your other child who has his own father with his own last name. And then while you're talking, you say my father's name on accident. Like, this is some shit. And I for the life of me, it bothered me because it bothered him. And I can't figure out why, as a mother, you would want to be petty to the child that ain't never did you no wrong. You know what I'm saying? You done lived with him. Oh, I gave y'all the rundown before. This other child does nothing. He's a full-on piece of completely, all the way. Like, what the fuck? I got some shit to address with these mother-in-laws. On today's episode, let's talk about the mothers who act funny with the children because they don't like the mother of the child. Now, y'all know when I have something on my mind, I get it off my chest and I say it out my mouth, and I really don't care who I offend, period. So with that being said, I just have a question for you mothers out there who have sons who decide to have children with somebody that you don't care for and you guys don't get along for whatever reason. Why do you think that it is okay to act funny with those children as if it's not a reflection of your character as a mom and a woman, period? Because you see, it's just this one little thing that's really bothering me, and it's the fact that some of y'all will go out of your way to be real involved in your son's life, but yet you know he has children of his own and you don't care to even try to create a bond with those children, and it's all based on the fact that you don't like the mother of those kids. So I really just want to know where your mindset is at with that. And you know, sometimes the difference be real blatant. Have you ever seen a mother that has multiple sons and she gets along with one of the daughter-in-laws? She will do a lot more for that kid over there than she will for the kids that have the mother that she doesn't care for. Or how about when they invite the son to come out for something, but they don't invite his children to tag along? Yeah, I be peeping the funny shit. And then they always have the excuse of, oh, those kids don't have no bond with me because of their mom, and their mom be telling them stuff. No, those kids don't have no bond with you because you haven't created one. Now, don't get it twisted. Me being me, I'm definitely going to speak on it. I'm not going to hide it from my kids. I'm going to complain to my kid's father. I'm going to say it to my children. And I'm going to point out every time I see a difference, because what you're not going to do is play in my face, but you're definitely not going to play in my kid's face. Especially because with me, I came from a broken home. Me and my mom didn't always get along. But baby, about her grandkids, she was not going to play. There was plenty of times I told her, look, don't come to my house. But about them grandkids, she was pulling up and she was going to tell me to fight her if I had a problem or try to get in her way. I couldn't stop their relationship. And to me, that's what it should be. If you wanted to, you would. And that's why at the end of the day, my kids have always had more of a bond with my people, because I am quick to let them know them people over there, yeah, they act funny with you. And we just going to speak what it is. They didn't like me. They didn't want to be in your life. But to go out of your way to be in your son's life and you don't even acknowledge or try to build that bond or build that bridge with them grandkids, yeah, I'm going to always speak on it. And I'm going to always let them kids know them people over there, they act funny. Because what I'm not going to do is fake or force any relationships. But furthermore, I'm never going to give credit where it's not due. And here we are again on another episode of messy ass mother-in-laws who like to start problems in their sons' marriages. I have another story time. And this time, it's not just the messy mama-in-law who's to blame. His ass is in hot water too. So men, if you're watching this, go ahead and pay attention so you can learn from our mistakes and don't catch the heat too. Okay, so long story short, me and my husband were at odds about a certain situation. And in my opinion, he was completely wrong. He was letting his circumstances and his situation cloud his judgment. And see, when you have a good woman who is being a good woman and a good wife to you, you have to appreciate her, because you're going to bump into somebody like me who's going to stand on business when it comes to that. I don't feel like under any circumstance is there a reason for you to question me or doubt me in any kind of way, because I make sure that I go above and beyond so that way you know I'm loyal to you. So when I don't feel like that's given, yeah, I got a problem. Anyhow, fast forward. So we get back cool, everything good, the whole nine. He had asked me to reach out to his cousin, and the cousin was acting funny. And I was like, that cousin is acting funny because your mom must have been speaking on me to them. Now, you already know how that goes. When you got a mom-in-law that don't like you, she's going to down talk you to other people. Now, mind you, I don't necessarily care about speaking to any of the family, but I was doing so on my husband's behalf, and it's an important situation. So when he start acting funny, I'm telling my husband, like, look, I'm not really in the business of kissing nobody ass, and I don't care to deal with these people. But I'm telling you now, the reason he's acting funny is because your mama done said something about me. He instantly was like, no, I don't think that's what it is. Now, mind you, he starts taking the stance of, why are you always looking at stuff so negative, yada, yada, yada. But I'm telling him, like, I don't know why you think that your mom is not as messy as she is when she's proven it time and time and time and time and time again. Not just with me, with you, and several other situations that you've been in. So, like, how are you not seeing this? So lo and behold, he calls me back a few hours later and he's like, I spoke to my cousin and you were right. My mom had told him that me and you weren't speaking, so he didn't know what was what, and that's why he wasn't sure to hit you back or not. So I'm like, yeah, I already knew I was right. But furthermore, for her to be able to say that me and you weren't speaking means that you were running back telling her our business to a woman that don't like me. Are you kidding me? And here he goes, pissing me off even further by saying, don't overthink it. It wasn't that big of a deal. I was just having a regular conversation with my mom. First of all, our business is not just a regular conversation. Second of all, clearly your mom doesn't have any respect for your guys' conversations because other people shouldn't hear about them. And that's the thing about having a messy ass mother-in-law. They're never going to care about what position it puts their son in or how it's fucking up his relationship or his mood. And maybe he doesn't want to be at odds with his woman because their disgust for that woman is all that matters. Not to mention any negative thing that you have to say about your relationship or your woman, she's happy to talk about. But then I would turn into the bad guy if I get to talking about how fucked up his childhood was because you were a fucked up mother. But no, I'm not even going to go there. All I am going to say is men. If you think that your mom is going to have a regular conversation with you and keep your conversation private about a woman that she does not like, you're sadly mistaken. And my issue is, do not speak on me to somebody that I don't get along with at all, period. See, if I feel that you have any type of ill will towards my relationship, I'm never going to want to share it with you because I know that I'm never going to get an honest opinion or any type of positive feedback because you're biased. Stop thinking that you can confide in this person just because they're your mother when they have no goodwill towards your relationship, period. They don't want you to be happy with that person. They don't want to see that relationship be successful with somebody that they don't like. You're grown. Keep your grown ass issues to your grown ass self in your relationship and keep her the fuck out of it.